what I'm referring to as the low pass, is essentially a pass in here where we hug our opponent's hip by controlling either the belt or his lapel on one side, his knee on the other side, straightening his leg, and I'm putting my weight, delivering my weight to his torso here, trapping his hips, keeping my body very low as I pass around his guard to either side. Now, generally our leg is going to be entwined. We can enter this position from a number of ways. Okay? Our elbows, like all of our passes, want to come close to our body. And the biggest mistake I see people make here is that they throw the weight very low over the hip. Instead, we want to put the weight up a little bit higher, up under his ribs. And we don't want to turn and look back towards his feet. If anything, we want to try to look up his body with our head, keeping our neck very strong. Okay, so again, I like to make a grip on the outside of the knee. Okay, so I don't end up twisting my upper body too much. We drive a little higher than we normally feel. Elbows closed, and now our opponent carries out our weight. Okay, that's the basic pressure for the low pass. He always carries our weight from our shoulders to the top of our head. Now, we have to work on angle. You see a lot of people struggling with this pass, some people even very successful with it, but they're passing the angle with the angle of our opponent's hips facing us. Okay, and that's something we should always try to avoid. So, once I establish my pressure from the low pass position, my next problem is angle. Okay, so here it's going to be hard. He can continue to hook and he can push. Okay, pushing out of position. So I want to keep looking up my body with his head, and now I'm going to walk using this knee to help turn his hip. I'm going to walk over to make his hips look the wrong way. Now I like to sprawl down, circle up, replace with my knee, come up, control the upper body. So again, there's a variety of ways to enter this pass, but we're staying low, keeping a lot of pressure, driving on our opponent. So our knees never touch the ground to split the weight. Okay, he carries our weight the whole time, and now once we feel locked in this position, we work on angle to free ourselves. Okay, so this knee helps steer his hip. So I walk over. Sometimes I can just step this leg out. If it's a problem, we sprawl, circle, block, control. When our opponent begins to push our head, this is the reaction that we're looking for. This allows us to gain ground. Okay, so when we're in the low pass, if he starts pushing our head, that's great. That means he's going to be expending a lot of energy. Okay, so we don't let him push. Every time he pushes, we circle and look up his body. Okay, so as he pushes, I circle and look up. Okay, and we're just going to grind him down with our head position here. Okay, as soon as he starts to freak out that my head is advancing up his body, it's going to be much easier to gain the angle. At this point, I don't even need to circle. I can just step off, block, control, and then of course be careful of this reverse triangle that our opponent has from the bottom. So, removing that arm when we get a chance. Again, this grip here, elbow sealing tight, driving the head, shoulder under the floating rib, not down at the hip. Okay, again, not looking at his legs. Okay, I don't want to get my body turning. I want to keep my body square driving. Now, if I'm having problems with this leg here, with this hook, okay, I'm going to walk. Now I can circle off. If it's a big problem, okay, I can sprawl, Or many times once we create the angle, the leg can just step up. Now, elbows close. Both elbows close. Drive this knee in. Control the upper body. Remove the arm from inside the legs. One trick for really locking our opponent is when we pass, we want to make him feel like there's nothing he can do, that he has to give up. One trick for locking our opponent is as we step around the corner here, as we clear this leg, we don't advance too fast. Because if I go to reach and he pushes my elbow off, I'm going to lose everything. So instead, once we pass this leg off, we jam it in tight, and I'm going to reach through and make a grip in the middle, okay, kind of our opponent's hip here. I'm going to make this grip right in the middle, and I'm going to close both my elbows and jam this knee in. Okay, stay looking up his body with my head, and now, as hard as he tries to fight, he's going to be completely locked. Go ahead and go there. After I've established this lock, sometimes the referee will even give you points for the pass in this position, although we're very low. Okay? Now I can look for an opportunity to quickly advance up his body with my arm. Now I take this arm out. If I can, I would like to go palm to palm and advance up his body, or we can block the near side hip and control his chest.